A few years back, my brother, who lives abroad, dropped in for an evening. We hadn't seen each other for a while, so the subject of the Welcome to Wrexham series came up. Mentioning a football TV show here on this channel might seem like a random thing to do, but I lived in Wrexham for some time. It's a nostalgia trip every time I think of it. The show's first frame shows a street, not just any street, but the one where I bought my first electric guitar. This street is so characteristic to me that I recognized it in a split second, so it was all fun watching the episodes together. Suddenly, wham! The computer logs out, no re-entry, and then I remembered why it was. At the very moment I realized it, I felt a tidal wave of embarrassment surging through my body. What happened was this: I spaced out on timely switching off the application that was largely responsible for keeping my life in working order at the time. And I couldn't just switch it off because, well, that was the idea and the main appeal of the app.
Well, duh.
My brother was genuinely curious. "What's up with that?" he asks. To paraphrase, I told him, "Listen, I totally forgot. I have this fancy app. It prevents me from using the computer overnight, so my life stays in working order. It gets me locked out at 10 p.m. Without it, I'd probably stay up late, waste time on nothing, and then wake up late and feel like my day is ruined even before it started proper. The start of the day is crucial to me. It sets me in a productive mood for the day. More or less, that's what I said."
Maybe. I don't know.
The part about the morning might seem odd, but I used to have this particular but silly notion. At one point, I thought not starting right means it's not worth starting at all. Or you may just call it toxic perfectionism. Yes, I know it sounds stupid, but sometimes our finicky brains craft the wildest excuses just to avoid the pain of being useful.
But I should write something first, then reward myself with coffee. Coffee and a muffin. Okay, so I need to establish the themes. Maybe banana nut. That's a good muffin.
Sharing with my brother that this app keeps me straight was a bit of a chuckle fest. It was funny because I never had an open face-to-face conversation about this problem, and it was something interesting to experience. Come to think of it, it's not far different from mentioning it here on YouTube. After those years, it's still a kind of a coming clean moment. So I told him that this application can block the computer from being used at just any time I wish, and can also lock up any application, folder, website or video game from being opened during those periods I choose. I elaborated on the way I have it set up. So the only way I can bypass it is by going out of my way, which is to open the computer in the middle of the night to change the settings. I designed it this way so it wouldn't be possible to change it on a whim, and it always worked. Never in my life did I think of waking up at 3 a.m. to turn off a setting so I could just play a game later on. At that hour, even my monkey brain sees more pleasure and benefit in sleeping. My brother was even more curious, to say the least. He asked me straight if it was that necessary to me, to which I said, "Absolutely. It's hands down the best software purchase of my life." He might not have grasped the magnitude of all of this at first, but the picture became clearer as I explained. Freelancing was my gig then, and my procrastinating brain did not quite connect chronic task postponement with jeopardizing my livelihood. This kind of danger is abstract and distant when you're just doing fine. Then again, just fine doesn't trigger fire under our asses, which could have been a helpful feature of the brain. I guess that's why I used to be motivated best by a deadline. I found out that having the option to choose between work and play was something exhausting me mentally. My brain was like, why work on this task with some faraway deadline when you can have this hour just to yourself? 1 hour gets followed by another and another, and then you realize it's no longer 8 a.m. but 1 p.m. The golden hour for a productive launch into the day had slipped away. So I might as well carry on with whatever I was doing, right? It's because when accountability for our time is solely on us, it's a different ballgame. When we disappoint, it's just us whom we disappoint. But is it just us? It's much more difficult to hold ourselves accountable than it is to be accountable to someone else. In a large part, it's because of the lack of tangible consequences we could face. We cannot fire ourselves, so the dangers of postponing things are not immediately discernible. This is where the Cold Turkey app stepped in, eliminating the dilemma entirely out of the picture. It neutralizes the internal debate over whether we can spare a moment for gaming or social media, and for me, having unlimited time for video games directly affects my overarching motivations and internal drive. The more I was satisfied in games, the less I wanted to push in real life. It does not apply to everyone, but it certainly does to me. After a prolonged fast from virtual stimulants, it's something that became glaringly obvious. It's like my monkey brain couldn't discern winning in games from winning in life. It was like, hey, this gives you fun and a sense of accomplishment, so why bother with trying all the other abstract stuff that's consistently hard? In my view, humanity's leap from trees to the Industrial Revolution hasn't taken long enough for us to handle the intricacies and stimulations of modern life. It's all too real to us. Without moderation, and with an innate predisposition to get lost in fantasy, it's dangerously simple to drift through life like it's some purple haze. It's not that I aim to bash video games or any other activity you might spend a lot of time on at the PC. Rather, it is to highlight how I've grown to be annoyed by my lack of clear intent when using a desktop, to the point where it started affecting my well-being. And spending too much time gaming is just one facet of that. At its core, it's a simple issue, giving too much time to a thing, anything. Gaming just happens to be the most visible from the outside, making it an easy scapegoat for life's hurdles, while excessive social media use slips under the radar, quietly chipping away at one's self-esteem and pool of available time. So the issue isn't necessarily a specific activity, but the accumulation of time lost. No matter if it's through a single thing, a mix of distractions, or everything at once. It really comes down to whether we feel content with where we are, or whether we have a nagging sense that there's more to what we should be doing, and only you can be a judge of that, especially not any YouTuber. All you can do is to make an educated guess. When that feeling is present, excessive commitment of time to pastimes can reshape them into becoming active debuffs to your sought-after efforts. With cold turkey, I feel like the tables have turned. It enabled me to channel my mental power into creativity from processing stuff that stole my time. This energy didn't have to be wasted on resisting the urge to be overstimulated. It gave me a room in my head to chase after tangible achievements. Our brains love rewards, but to our command center, the effort and time it takes to achieve something is, once again, an abstract concept. Winning in real life is cool, but the journey from what translates as level 1 to 100 is an area that's just pure intangible mystery. When we have the option of receiving similar chemical rewards from games, it becomes no contest. Additionally, games offer a clear path to getting the prize. Just run with it and things will happen. The quest markers will show up. In real life, it's just one big unknown, and the reward is a giant question mark. But there's a silver lining for this. Once moderation kicked in, I felt a greatly diminished need for stimulation. It enabled me to enjoy everyday things. After some time of constraints, the need to overdrive dwindles. I no longer had to keep up with the high demand. That's why I believe cold turkey turned my life around. It no longer revolves around getting another hit from intangible things. Despite my tendencies, I feel like I am in control of my life and its trajectory. I don't feel bad about resorting to cold turkey as my PC time manager, because it's only fair to counter the work of people who design irresistibly engaging apps or games with equally ingenious software solutions. The people behind social platforms and video games are brilliant at making their products to be as engaging as they are, and by proxy, they are addictive. Admitting the need for help in this lopsided battle for our attention is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to insight, I think. It's fine to admit that sometimes the odds are just too strong. As this video gets uploaded, it's been over 5 years since I started using Cold Turkey Blocker, and I never looked back. Before installing it, I could never imagine myself having a good direction in life. Growing up with computers, it was always easy for me to seek validation through virtual achievements. This application cancelled out the worst aspects of bad lifestyle, leaving only the positive ones. Before all of this, chasing my dreams through waking up at 5 or 6 AM was surreal, and I always had a lot of dreams. One of those dreams was this very YouTube channel. It took me many years to materialize it. In the meantime, I've struggled with the notion of using my own voice, done some experimental stuff, but by far, this is the real deal. This is the place where my long-cooked ideas will go to. So if you're looking for a proof that it works, You're watching it right at this very moment. At one point, I discovered I had become reconditioned from my past mode of operation. It took me a long time to feel like I can go without blocking any of the stuff, and the road had its ups and downs. I am confident I can make it without cold turkey blocker, but I'm not the type of person to fix what's not broken. I'm not going to pretend I'm the smartest, so I will stick with it, as you never know what the future might invent. Cold turkey blocker freed up my time to think about what I want in life. This might be the biggest benefit of it all in hindsight. And even with this newfound free time, it took a while, so I shudder to think where I'd be without it. Distractions were making me feel like I was always short on time, when in reality I always had plenty, it was just mismanaged. Embracing cold turkey isn't about taking the path of extremes, it's about reshaping your self-image into that of an organized individual, not a self-denying martyr. It's important to remember that all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. It's worth being gentle with your restrictions, to take into account that life just happens, to give yourself some leeway and cut some slack when needed. So if you like the idea of cold turkey blocker, do yourself a favor. Don't go all out on day one. Experiment and see what happens. Limit things gradually and see how you respond. And there will be some twists and turns. Remember, you're not a machine operating on zeros and ones, and you're not supposed to act like one. The point is certainly not deprivation, but moderation. Cold turkey isn't a tool for self-punishment, but a tool for enabling relief in times of struggle. It's support, whether you're trying to achieve self-realization or just trying to get things done. If I was a typical YouTuber, I'd split this video in 2 parts or more, but sometimes I like to torpedo my own efforts. I feel the video wouldn't be a full package without some displays of use cases. By now I dumped a lot of fury on you, but little about what to actually do with all of it. It's even worse when you know the hardest part of getting things done is getting started. And I know it all too well. To alleviate the pain of initiating action, here are a few cold turkey blocker ideas and general pointers, straight from my couple of years with it. If you appreciate my approach to video making, then please subscribe, and in turn you'll be notified about more videos of this type. Also, it would be nice if you would reach 100 subs with this one. Note that the tips may not be just about using cold turkey blocker, but they may offer actionable insights without the need to apply the app in question. Unlike me, you may be able to go by without it, but you may find value in the areas we will explore next. Let's move on with the 7 tips. Tip number 1. Track websites you visit and software you use. In the very beginning, understanding your computer habits is pivotal. This journey starts with awareness. Fortunately, most of this can be automated and done in the background using free software. If you don't know where you're overspending your time, I'd recommend using the Rescue Time app to learn about your app usage tendencies. For web browsing, the Insight extension helps to learn how much time you spend on different websites. With this knowledge, you should be able to come to conclusions. After a couple of weeks of casual PC use, you should gather enough data to understand where your time disappears. Thanks to this step, you can tailor the next ideas to yourself. It's the foundation for what's to come. Step number 2. Absolute bans. Kick things off by axing websites and apps that serve as nothing more than time sinks. Either this or reduce them by 90% or more. These digital black holes often masquerade as troves of wisdom, but in reality they are bottomless pits of content. We could scroll them until our fingers go numb. For me, one of those pages is Quora. It's just far too easy to overstay your welcome on this page. You search for an answer to a nagging question, and bam, you're scrolling through dozens of clickbait threads, and all of a sudden you're catching up with the Beckhams. This makes it a well-deserved block, and I'm sure you can identify your own Quoras. You might limit access to such pages to 2 or 3 minutes altogether, and by the end of it you won't feel any worse, and it means a maximum of 3 minutes shared across all of those pages. There's an infinite number of those types of portals, and each of them has the potential to steal your time and attention. Therefore, it's worth throwing them into the same bag called absolute bans. Tip number 3. Kick destructive websites and apps. The bread and butter of the Cold Turkey app is here, blocking distracting pages and apps. This includes stuff like Reddit, fandom.com, Steam, X, Facebook, online stores, all the meme hubs, and more. I even place Wikipedia here, because while it's useful, it's just as easy to surf from one page to another, wasting time on reading trivia disguised as applicable knowledge. I set the allowance to 0 during my deep focus blocks, and to half an hour a day after finishing work. It's because I don't want to spend my free time on distractions, so this is as much as I can allow. If it seems like a very low time allotment, And note that those pages often find you on mobile devices, which are not the subject of this video. Tip number 4. Block news. This is a significant one. With the current state of journalism, wading through endless AI-generated articles or battling against clickbait headlines is just a waste of time. My approach is a hit-and-run tactic. I dive in, skim the essentials to stay informed, and swiftly exit. Most of the time, so-called news are radiating with negativity, trying to manipulate my mood. And I don't appreciate that. Equally, I don't appreciate being informed about often fake scandals and engineered dramas. It's not to say that I advocate for staying uninformed, but I believe that time spent in front of a PC could be used more effectively than getting caught in a whirlwind of news that is often useless to us. In today's day and age, there are plenty of opportunities to surf the web and get the information on the go, even here on YouTube. So perhaps the time we spend sitting down could be used for something with a bit more substance than simply consuming typically low-value information that holds little to no retention in our heads. It's easy to saturate ourselves with crucial information, and after a point, taking in more comes with diminishing returns. And this is where our sponsor comes in. No, I'm just joking. News nowadays are endless telenovelas, disguised as useful information, so I don't give them any focus beyond what's useful to know. Therefore, my daily allowance for this is a mere 3 minutes a day, because this is the value I see in it. Pretty appropriate, I'd say. Tip number 5. Limit video games. This may seem controversial, but also it's quite personal, and it may not apply to you. My stance on gaming is all about balance and anticipation. I'm all in for a single, well-deserved, extended session each week, a session that's long awaited and truly rewarding with immersion, but nothing will happen if it gets taken by more important stuff. Plus, maybe a brief light gaming break midweek can work too, but only if time allows. Ultimately, it comes down to how much you can allot to your hobbies, since gaming is just one of the pastimes you can have after all. But nowadays, it comes down to a choice. I either progress in other fields, or I consciously decide to play. Since putting YouTube on my plate, my schedule is packed more than ever. But I also cherish gaming, so it's a matter of careful balancing. This means I try to ensure it's a treat, not a time trap. Gaming now is indeed my reward for good performance. It's for times when my responsibilities are in check, and I can dedicate some time without a feeling of guilt, unlike before. The memories of pulling all-nighters stay as a cool recollection to have, but I also recognize that those adventures are now compartmentalized in the past. Now I try to make new ones, different ones, like waking up 5:30 to do a voiceover for this video, which is indirectly tied to gaming and rewarding in another way. At first, limiting gaming with the Cold Turkey app may seem like a painful breakup, but sometimes a breakup might be a necessary thing to go through to reclaim yourself some time and ultimately your peace of mind. I'm also confident that without this step, this little YouTube channel wouldn't see the light of day. Tip number 6. Focus mode. My ace in the hole is the focus mode. In this brief, sacred scheduled time block, I eliminate everything non-essential. Through this, I don't allow anything to breach my deep work fortress. It's priceless, indeed. When the focus mode is engaged, there is no choice but productivity. I've discovered that 10 to 20 minutes on a worse day is typically all it takes to slip into a state of flow. Tip number 7. Frozen turkey. Here's a neat feature of Cold Turkey Blocker. A feature that used to be called Frozen Turkey, but now it's simply called Device Block. It is what I've mentioned in the very beginning of this video. If you want to create a clear cutoff from PC usage, now you can. If you want to spend time outdoors without the temptations of your desktop computer, there you have it. If you'd like to start working out while exploring entries in your Steam library seems more enticing, setting up daily recurring blocks could motivate you to finally pick up the dumbbells. The day I decided to install Cold Turkey Blocker marked one of the many crossroads in my life. Years into using the app day by day, I'm confident I've taken the better path. It wasn't a snap decision in a moment of crisis, but the culmination of self-reflection. It all started with an honest look at my life on a day-to-day basis. It's because more and more questions kept arising. What am I doing here exactly? Where are the things I wanted to experience? What about my accomplishments? Fast forward to today, and the amount of time I've reclaimed is beyond measure. Time, after all, is our most precious resource. It's irreplaceable and invaluable, but often taken for granted. even by us. Taking all of this into account, I'm confident in saying that without cold turkey, I wouldn't be in a better place. I wouldn't be where I am now. I'd be still beating myself up for not being strong enough to confront all the distractions head on, where it isn't at all about proving yourself through mental heroics. Probably, I wouldn't be on a path that finally led to making this YouTube channel. Most likely, I'd still be in a phase of endless planning of content, but lacking the motivation to get on with it, since distractions are good at providing a sensation of accomplishment. The problem isn't only a sensation. The thing is, I love being around computers since I was a kid who owned computers that could now be called relics of time. Fending off modern distractions now seems like it was a rite of passage for this lifestyle. I feel like admitting that cold turkey has been a game changer required some courage. It's coming to terms with not being perfect, but figuring it's fine. Only perfect things in this world are Instagram Reels. This tool didn't just enhance my life, it saved it in some ways. And that's about it. Hopefully, these insights and tips will inspire action if you need it. I have been thinking about a wholesome way to wrap up this video, but I think it's already as wholesome as it gets. Have a good day and see you around.